This is the getting started for the group assignment project. This assignment will help fulfill the PSB strategy plan that was designed with input from the PSB Advisory Board. Those are business leaders in the four-state area. Two areas that will be addressed by this introductory assignment are 5.1, students of the PSB will be able to use ethical criteria to make business decisions, and 6.1, students of the PSB will be able to work effectively in teams to solve organizational problems. You will find that this teamwork process will be similar in other classes requiring a group project. This assignment is designed to evaluate and enhance student learning across several areas. Primarily, it focuses on developing and assessing critical thinking, creative thinking, integrative learning skills. It also emphasizes the importance of teamwork, problem solving, inquiry, analysis, and effective communication. The goal is to foster the ability to apply knowledge across different contexts, think creatively to solve problems, and to work collaboratively. In this 4-week ethics project, outcomes that can be reasonably expected are the development of critical thinking, problem solving, and teamwork skills. Specifically, you should be able to demonstrate a solid understanding of ethical issues at hand, identify and analyze relevant information, consider different ethical perspectives, develop a logical and consistent plan to address the ethical problems while also recognizing the consequences of proposed solutions. Collaborate effectively with team members, contributing relevant information and meeting deadlines. I am recommending asynchronous completion, focusing on the key objectives. Asynchronous team collaboration. This means that your project can be completed by few team meetings where everyone must be available. You can post at your convenience, but it requires your members to review and respond early in the week. If you can't, then you should schedule a team meeting where everyone attends to get the task accomplished at that time. Online discussion forums. Use platforms like Microsoft 360 or Teams to discuss ethical issues, share findings, and brainstorm solutions. Collaborative documents. Create shared documents for different parts of the problem. Project management tools. Tools like those found in Microsoft 360, To-Do, Outlook, Planner, etc. can help teams manage deadlines and individual responsibilities. Demonstrating understanding analysis. Individual research and reflection. Each student should conduct research on specific aspects of the ethical issue and submit individual reflection papers. Online presentations. Students who can record and upload presentations, allowing team members to review and provide feedback asynchronously. Development of solutions and logical plans. Drafting proposals. The team can collaboratively draft a proposal document outlining the problem, potential solutions, and a proposed plan of action. Feedback and revision. Use track changes and comments in collaborative documents to provide asynchronous feedback and revise the proposal. Assessment of teamwork. Self and peer assessment. Implement asynchronous and self-peer assessment using online forms or surveys based on criteria like contribution, participation, and respect for team dynamics. Some advice. As the great Stan Musial said, if you're on time, then you're 15 minutes late. In our case, if you make your initial submissions on the assignment due date, you are a week behind. The due date is the due date for the final submissions. Turning in your portion of the assignment that others need to review on the assignment and submit on the due date will eliminate your contribution and drag the group grade down. Another piece of advice. You will not have time to go through the Tuckman's model. Tuckman's is a teamwork model that takes quite a bit of time to get through. What I say you should do is use a satisficing strategy. A satisficing strategy says use the first best alternative and move ahead. Don't spend too much time hashing over minor details. If everybody can get on board with what the solution should be as far as the ethical considerations and the legal considerations, go with that. A few best practices. Before the middle of this week, use Blackboard to make initial contact with group members. You can select the groups on menu bar, decide how to communicate either through Blackboard, Teams, review all the material in the Getting Started. Complete and submit student availability questionnaire. Select the group leader, Teams manager, group project compiler for the written report, group project compiler for the video with PowerPoint. The project's success will depend on each member successfully filling out the student availability and interest form and discussing and deciding responsibilities before the project begins. This will define who and what each member is responsible and who the leader should contact to keep the project moving. The team leader needs to be considered carefully. By selecting the leader, you are agreeing to accept their decisions and take direction to keep the project from falling behind. Another key to success is the ability to use available technology. The selection of the Teams manager will enhance the group's ability to complete the assignments. The requirements to communicate asynchronously and record the PowerPoint presentation and evaluation videos may be new to some members. Technology evolves quickly, and even though I have suggested ways to communicate and present, there may be better or new technology available to enhance the project's requirements. The Teams manager will be the go-to resource to help resolve questions and issues each member may encounter. Delaying the project's decisions to the last minute is a bad idea. Running those responsible for the final paper and the presentation out of time is a sure way to score poorly. In the same vein, if those responsible for completing the paper and presentation procrastinate, then the final submission won't have the approval of the team. Again, poor scores will be the result. Remember, the team's leader's responsibility is to keep this from happening. I have recommended Wednesday deadlines for submission. That gives members all time to submit, review, and approve decisions. The suggested project schedule can help the members stay on track. You don't have to use the schedule, but it should be understood that assignments and deadlines will move the project forward. Don't kill your grade with vague assignments and lax details. Your team evaluation form and video will give you ample opportunity to discuss this group's successes and shortfalls. You will find most members will know what their contribution was and if it was fulfilled in a poor, average, or excellent manner. Your evaluation video should be presented as if it was in a business environment. Your dress and the video background are important considerations. For instance, dress appropriately. The video background should not be distracting with dirty laundry, distracting posters, dogs barking, and so on. Practice your presentation and review the final product before submitting. Each member will receive the same grade for the final report that's written and presentation. Those will be 60% of your total grade. And each individual will be given a grade on the member's ratings. A word of caution. Projects in this short time period are rarely perfect, and scoring 100% on the written presentation or peer evaluation is highly unlikely. So let's go ahead and let's take a look what's on the project here. So you're watching the guidance video here. Now, here's what I suggest you do. You have the case. So what I would do is I'd go ahead and read the case. It's not very long. Open it up there. So you can go through and you can kind of read what it is that the case wants you to do. There's also some instructions on there about what some of the assignments are, but we'll get to those in a little bit. So I would watch the video. I'd read the team exercise. Next, you can take a look, and this will tell you what the objectives are. If you're wondering why I'm doing this or why we have to do it, here's your objectives. Okay, the next thing is that there's two questions in this case. One is how to resolve an ethical dilemma. And so I have two different podcasts here. And we're going to use the four approaches for resolving an ethical dilemma. Now, the four approaches come from our textbook. And so I have a podcast here, so we can listen to that. And I also have a video podcast. And this will deal more specifically with the case and the four approaches. This audio will simply be about what the four approaches are and why you use them. Okay, but listen to both of those. The next we have is the legal considerations. Both of these podcasts will try to tie in the legal considerations as well as the ethical, because the legal has quite a bit to do with the ethical. So here you can watch a video that will have a slideshow presentation, and then you can have the audio, which will be basically just audio. So before I start getting into anything else, if I know what the case is, I know what the four approaches are and the legal considerations, now I'm really ready to see what I want to do as part of the group here. And so here, come down and you'll see the team questionnaire, your individual, and I want you to fill that out. You need to fill this out and you need to upload it however you all decide you're going to communicate. This way, you can see what everybody else's interests are. You can see what your interests are. And then that way we can figure out how to set your group up. Not we, not the royal we. I'm talking about you. Okay. The next thing is, after we do this, I have a suggested team project schedule. And so I'm going to click on that. And what it does is it pretty much says, okay, you got 4 weeks to do this. So the first week, have this done by Wednesday. Next, have this done by Wednesday, etc. So what it's going to do is if you get everything done at the start of the week by Wednesday, it gives your team members, your group members, the ability to read your material, repost. So at the end of the week, you're on the same page. Okay. So you're not putting things off for 2 or 3 weeks and trying to hustle it up on the last week. If you want to do this thing asynchronously, you need to be considerate of each other, of making sure that you look at it from time to time and post. Otherwise, you need to figure out a way to get together and have multiple face-to-face meetings. Otherwise, this is going to be very difficult for you to do. Final report, presentation. Okay, we do have a couple things here where we have the final report that's going to be written, and then we have the presentation. And so if a member of your group likes to write reports, they probably would be interested in doing that. If the presentation people like putting together videos and presentations, then this is probably what they would want to do. Now, you have to understand that the final report and the presentation requirements, all the information has to be submitted before the end of the 4th week. Otherwise, you can't have the information put together, review it, and say, yes, this is what we want. So if everybody gets their information on Sunday night on week 4 at 11:50, then your presentation and the written form and the video are not going to be very good. All right, here's on the individual and team rubric. So if you click on that, this is how you're going to evaluate yourself and the members of your team. And then here we have individual and rubric, where if you look at this, these are the things I'm looking for specifically for you to report on. Okay, so the rubric tells you what I'm looking for, but this says in your report, you need to do this for the team and you need to do this for the member. Okay, so those two will tell you what I want for that video. Here is a video on how to record on Blackboard. Watch it. It's a way to record so you can do your evaluation. It has some limitations though. So take a look at that. It's not absolutely necessary you do it this moment, but this is going to help you to know what you need to do as far as being able to record. Now, also, you should go through and take a look at this. Here's some videos down here. This is on how to use Microsoft Teams. If you've never really tried to do an asynchronous collaboration before, Teams is a pretty good way to start out. It's to have access to Missouri Southern through the email, and so you can click on that and it'll go through and show you how to access that. So if you've never done one of these before and you're not familiar with collaboration software, learn a little bit about it here. Okay. And then this way, when you all get together, you have an idea of what you need to do. Okay, that is pretty much your getting started. If you can get this up and going as far as knowing what the case is, the four approaches, the legal considerations, putting together your teamwork ethics, putting together your availability questionnaire by Wednesday of the week, you're going to be way ahead of the game and probably have a very good feel for how you're going to approach this particular project. As a reminder, it is 10% of your grade, so it's very difficult to get an A in this class if you do poorly on this particular assignment.